We are going to have a look at dynamics. Dynamics is a term that's really easy to really understand. I suspect that a lot of you already know what dynamics mean, but I am just going to go through it to help you, so then you actually know what you need to talk about when you do analysis with dynamics. So, dynamic overview. So, when talking about dynamics, we think about how the volume changes with inside the piece or the pieces. Also, when discussing about dynamics, we usually state where they also change in the music and what volume we think it starts at. So, if we don't have a score reference, so for example, we don't have a score to have a look at, it is really up to your opinion of what you think that the dynamic marking starts with. Okay, so if you, for example, think the piece starts loud and then it gets louder, then you're going to say it gets very loud. If you start at quiet and it gets louder, you then have a bigger spectrum to play with in terms of the volume marking when it gets louder. Okay, so it's all relative in terms of what you hear or versus what you see in the score. So, terms that we talk about, or symbols. So there's an English, then which is Italian, and then there's the symbols. So basically, classical music works on symbols in the Italian side, and then we talk about American music. So for example, jazz, rock and roll, and pop. We then go to the English version. So we have PP or pianissimo, which is very soft. We have P, which is piano and soft. MP, which is mezzo piano, which is moderately loud. MF, mezzo forte, which is moderately loud. We have forte, which is, or F, which is loud. Fortissimo, which is FF and very loud. We have SFZ, which is a forzando, which is suddenly loud. And then we have an SFP, which is a forzando piano, which is suddenly loud and then directly soft straight after that. So if you need this, or if you don't, if you forget this, it is in this video, or I will share, or the PowerPoint is shared with you as well. There is other dynamic changes or terms. So we have the word crescendo, or CRES, which means increase in volume, so it gets louder. We have decrescendo, which is DECRES for short, which is decreasing in volume. And then we have diminuendo, which is dim, which is diminishing. So we're using dim basically if you really want to finish off the piece and go really, really, really quiet, or finishing off a section. Okay, decrescendo is the one that we use with inside a piece of music. Crescendo is what we just use for everything in terms of it gets louder or change in volume. Okay. I have also talked about terrace dynamics before when it comes to texture, but terrace dynamics was predominantly used in the Baroque period, as I've said before. In the Baroque period, instruments only really played at one volume, and to increase the sound, they would increase the amount of people playing, so the texture would become thicker as well. So if we had 10 people playing the same thing, it would be louder than if we had one person just playing that melody. Okay, so that's what we call terrace dynamics. When it comes to SOLO Taxonomy and you explaining about it in music analysis, basically multi-structural is what are the dynamics used. Okay, so you're listing them off. They are piano, it is used forte, it used mezzo piano, and it used mezzo forte. Relational, you're telling me where are the dynamics. So where does it change as well, and what are the dynamics? And then extended abstract is how the dynamics used inside the piece. So how does it complement the lyrics? How does it complement the melody? Is there significance how the dynamics are used in the piece? So why do you think that they went quiet all of a sudden? Why do you think they went really, really, really loud? And then the last one is, would there be a change how the dynamics are heard between a live performance and the studio version of the same piece? And that is a really interesting question and a huge debate that you can talk about in regards to how dynamics are used in live performances versus actually recorded versions. Alright, so that is it. Good luck, and we'll see you on the other side. Mā te wā.